Oh, I think we're live. I don't know. Whatever. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So, Candace Owens Hitler isn't something I ever thought I'd have to Google.
It's not just her though. It's this whole concept of, trying to place Hitler in whatever corner possible. So
Oh
that way you
God,
can point your fingers and be like, "You're the real Nazis."
dude, I just love this picture. If you, I wish I could show it to you right now, but it's Candace Owens and like Hitler with this like purple background. Gorgeous. Fucking Daily Beast. Hitler was okay until he tried to go global. I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I have the video.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've already seen the video.
Candace Owens grabs the mic.
The word nationalism. I think that
Yeah.
it gets the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, in at least in America, is Hitler.
Husky
You know, he's a
puppy.
national socialist.
He's
But
so
if Hitler just wanted to make
adorable.
Germany great and have
Cute
people, well,
emergency.
okay, fine. The problem
Retweet.
is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. In thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing.
The decrease in the
In the
birth rate.
plague
Oh my
is
God.
what you kind of
Yeah.
want to avoid. So I don't have anything problem. I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
I have no problem with nationalism. It's globalism I try to avoid.
Wow, Joe Walsh. Really, he came out with a tweet I can 100% agree with, actually. And he's not even getting ratioed. Here are three things that we should all be able to agree on. One, Hitler is bad. No exceptions, Candace Owens. Two, sexual assault is bad. No exceptions. Three, blackface is bad. No exceptions. You know what? Yeah, this is bipartisanship right here.
Apparently Joe Walsh, because I only remember him like right after the election. And at some point he like came against Trump and he sort of stood on this like anti-white nationalism sort of platform. So, I mean, good on Joe Walsh. It doesn't really forgive all his past sins, so.
This is an amazing fucking tweet right here. Dude has a picture of like Hitler doing battle strategy planning with his fucking generals, and he goes, "Okay, guys, Candace Owens says we can genocide as long as we stay right in this area."
I mean, okay. Let's try to be. Well, so number one, I asked the question I asked earlier before we just decided to go live and do afterthoughts. But why is everyone from PragerU to Charlie Kirk to Candace Owens trying to like revitalize the image of Hitler and sort of sanitize it and say, "Oh, he wasn't this"? Why are people doing that? I don't understand that.
I don't either. And I mean, I know what they're trying to do, but it's not really working. It's kind of backfiring.
Well,
And
I mean, is there a tactic? Are they
yeah,
seriously trying to make Hitler just seem like okay in the long run? Because that seems like a
no,
bad tactic.
no. So what they're trying to do is what Hitler's probably the most infamous person in human history, right? And by trying to place him in a specific camp that you're railing against, you can point and be like, "You are the real Nazis." Blah.
So that's all this is?
That's exactly what this is. Now, what? Now that's normally the angle with like PragerU, the defense Candon Owens a while ago, so on and so forth. But this whole new thing, like I learned a lot about history concerning this, and I never knew this. I was apparently taught, improperly about the whole like World War II Germany aspect. Uh, Apparently, according to Candace Owens, it's okay to genocide people as long as you keep it in your own damn country.
Well, let
As soon
me.
as you try to go beyond your borders, that's a no-no. Like,
So let me go with this. So she starts off and she says, when we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler.
yeah,
I don't know. That's not really the first thing I think of. But okay, and then she says he was a national socialist. So this is like the PragerU line. where they have to talk about how Hitler wasn't actually a nationalist, but he was a socialist.
Yeah.
Which, no, not really.
Yeah.
Either way, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great, by the way, she shouldn't have used the word great because now she's going to get clipped next to, like, make America great again.
Yeah, make Germany great again.
Yeah.
And then Hitler, like...
In fact, I think I'm going to make that clip later. No, but either way, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine, Owens continued. The problem is he had dreams outside of Germany. And then none of this is true, though. So what she says next, he wanted to globalize. He wanted everyone to be German, everyone to speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That wasn't Hitler's prerogative. Hitler wanted a master Aryan race that was in charge of the whole world.
He wanted to exterminate Jews, gypsies,
Roma, disabled, yeah,
atheists. Like basically, if you didn't fit this mold of positive Christianity, white Aryan, and that is actually a term, positive Christianity. It was a new school of thought within Christianity that was thought of by the Third Reich as a way to push. It was to focus on the positive acts, or not acts, but the actions of Christ, such as like driving the people out of the market by whipping them, so on and so forth, and that you need to take action. So they kind of went with that. But if you didn't fit that mold, like you were to be killed off. That was the whole point.
Okay, there is something, I guess, either outside this clip or something I never paid attention to in this clip that now sounds really, really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes, she talks about how he wanted everyone who's speaking German, everyone to look a different way. To me, that's not nationalism. Now, the next sentence. So in thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't.
Basically, she just admitted that as long as you were to genocide people inside your own borders, it's okay. As long as you don't go past your border. As soon as you go past your border, you're in the wrong.
Okay, let's try to be as gratuitous or whatever the word. You know what I mean? Let's try to be as nice as possible and think about this in the best light.
As charitable.
Yeah, it's charitable. So to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't.
And here's the thing that I think Candace is missing.
What does she think happens down the line? Is she referring to something else? Is she just not educated in what happened in Germany or in Poland or in?
Well, the thing is that what Candace is also missing and why this is nationalism, and she's like, well, it's outside Germany. What she doesn't understand is that the concept of invading of Poland and everything and the marching towards the Baltic states, that was to reclaim the Germanic territory. We're talking about old school, old timey fucking, German empire. That's what it's referencing. That's what Hitler wanted to envision. Think of Putin's kind of policy towards Ukraine is no, you're South Russia. And that's literally what Hitler was trying to push. He wanted to reclaim what he believed to be the separatist territory.
Yeah. No, I just mean but I'm saying, what is she talking about? If she's not talking about the extermination of others, when she talks about how it could go bad down the line.
There's nothing else. Maybe Candace Owens thinks that down the line for her, she's going to have to shoot herself in the fucking head. I don't fucking know.
No. I'm just saying. I blew up the website so people can, I guess, put in their own thoughts in the chat. But so in thinking about how it could go bad down the line,
she doesn't call nationalism. She literally did in a whole excuse for basically Nazi Germany. She just did. It was just the issue with Nazi Germany wasn't that they were, committing genocide. It's not that they were committing war crimes or anything. It's that they branched out of their own border. And so I want to point.
I'm flabbergasted. But I didn't see this really when I was looking at this earlier. Maybe I just didn't watch the whole video, or maybe I just didn't notice. But I just didn't see this line, and now I'm seeing this line, and I'm like, I don't know how you defend this line. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what's really surprising. Right before she went through this whole tirade that is clearly, misinformed or ill-informed. I'm just going to say completely ill-informed, not even misinformed. But the question beforehand was talking about like what would happen if like Donald Trump ran against like Jeremy Corbyn, and it states like Owen suggested that Trump, if he was involved in British politics, would have demolished Corbyn as a political opponent by giving the Labour leader a nickname similar to those he gave Hillary Clinton, Crooked Hillary, and Ted Cruz, Lying Ted. Like Jew hater Jeremy, Kirk interjected. Owens laughed. Owens laughed. Jew hater Jeremy. So we already knew that they had brushed against the topic of anti-Semitism, and now she doesn't make that connection whatsoever when talking about Adolf Hitler. And now, before anybody even goes, we want you to understand something. It wasn't like she was asked about Adolf Hitler. A member of the audience asked about nationalism in Western politics. There was no mention of like the Third Reich or nationalism in the case of fucking, European history. She literally just was like, oh, well, Hitler. Like, that's what happened. Like, I don't even know what to think at this point. The loss of connection just really boggles the mind.
Okay, so by the way, so Owens did not retract her comments in her later clarification.
No.
I stand by my statements, and that is that.
Well, the thing is, she was getting called out by a few individuals as well, and then she tried challenging Chelsea Clinton, claiming that the Clinton Foundation that she was a part of, like, basically committed the same atrocious crimes as Hitler, and that you can't pass condemnation on her. And it's like, wait, what? Like, when did the Clinton Foundation decide to ethnically cleanse a region? Like,
This is kind of made worse, by the way, which I'm going to give the charity to Candace Owens. I don't know why, but globalism for a lot of people these days just means Jews. It's this conspiracy theory that Jews sort of run the whole world.
Yeah.
And by connecting all the dots, via trade and protectionist pacts and stuff like that, Jews are just consolidating power.
Mm-hmm.
And so another part of that comment is that she was the thing that comes prior to that, which I was like, oh, maybe there's something before that provides more context.
There's not.
But, oh God, it actually even gets worse, because elitist is also a jargon term nowadays, which means it's a dog whistle to some people. But
yeah,
here, I'll show it.
Well,
she says, so the full quote is, I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. So that just continues the rest of the quote. But that's the full quote in context, which makes it like just as bad. I mean, there's nothing in there that saves her. There's no context that got added by it that's better. But if she is in the loop, or she knows what she's saying,
doubled down on it too.
Yeah, well, but also if she knows who she's talking to, because a lot of these conservative people are sort of on this edge of conspiracy, then it then gets worse, because what she's actually doing in this is she's saying, I don't want the world to be taken over by Jews, and then talks about how Hitler only messed up because he was in bed with the Jews. Like, I
don't know. Here's the thing that makes this, and this is what this is blatantly is, and this is me being extremely charitable. All right. Like, this is grifting gone bad. All right. Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were there doing this whole deal under the banner of Turning Point USA. And look at Turning Point. All right. Nobody outside of Twitter and YouTube know who the hell Turning Point USA is.
Oh,
that's the truth. Like Fox News, like, go ask your grandma who Turning Point USA is, and she's going to shrug her shoulders and be like, I don't know. But they cater to a very specific audience.
Okay. I will say this, because I mean, there is an attempt to diminish their credibility. Candace Owens was absolutely tweeted out by Donald Trump and said, hey, this is like the generation of new thinkers on the conservative side, and she's one of the best.
Yeah.
The President of the United States put that out there.
Yeah. Prior to this comment, but yes.
Yes, prior. That is true. Yeah.
I wonder if he deleted that tweet. I wonder if Donald Trump deleted that tweet, because that would be hilarious. But the thing is that we know what Turning Point USA is. We see what their major base is, the people who consume their freaking product and everything. And what they're talking to is they're talking to young, dumb, like stupid people who consider themselves like, super nationalists, the MAGA kids, And the thing is that not only are they uneducated in what the hell what even she's talking about, because they're just nodding their head in agreement, but it just gets even more ridiculous when you start looking at things that they're not exactly dog whistling. They're just screaming on top of their lungs. We support you, young conservative nationalists, in order to fucking put asses in seats and selling tickets. Where this is backfiring on them is the fact that Candace Owens went up there, tried making a connection between things about how like nationalism is misunderstood in America.
Don't bring up Hitler.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to bring up Hitler about the concept of nationalism, you need to fucking, like really go like, oh, Hitler bad. But no, she actually tried softening up the image of Hitler and basically try to wipe away any sins that Hitler had committed himself prior to pushing out of the boundaries of Germany. So, the whole like taking away property, rounding up the Jews, Catholics, atheists, gypsies, blacks, anybody who didn't fit that positive Christian, white Aryan mold, like she just excused that all and claims that that's okay.
I just renamed this little after show special Hitler Had Dreams.
Yeah, he had dreams of reaching out. You know what? And I could have sworn Candace was all about capitalism, because capitalism dictates you got to expand.
Oh my God. And then, then to further top it off, she starts talking about birth rates, which is going into another. I mean, like, honestly,
that's a
she
white
took
nationalist talking point.
She took a whole bunch of talking points and conspiracy theories and jumbled them up into a PragerU Hitler apologetics video and vomited it all out.
Oh yeah, and it's just. Well, she didn't just vomit it all out. She like vomited out chunks of it.
I think if you're going to talk about Hitler and you're going to sort of try to revise history, you should be a historian, number one, and maybe practice what you're going to say. Because this was done by a Q&A. So maybe Candace has learned, hey, when someone asks me a question about like on a Q&A, maybe I just don't go instantly to Hitler.
I think we're going to see this happen again in the future. This is just me. I have a feeling that we're going to turn around and we're going to see her double down on this.
See, here's my issue to bring this back. Amber Atheny of the Daily Caller, which is, I mean, I'm not going to even call it a far right, but it's reaching organization, straight up apologizes for making like a how many Jews can you fit in a car joke, something that's been around for 50 years. And Candace Owens comes out, tries to soften Hitler to a youthful audience, a lot of which studies have said, like, I think it's like half of college kids these days don't know what the Holocaust is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and this bitch just doubles down her comments. And the scary part is, do you know which one is better for the person? What Candace Owens did.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. I just don't know.
Amber Athey like apologized, and it was a bullshit ass apology, and she should have absolutely just been like, "Oh my fucking God." They should have pulled the story. Number one, they should have been like, I mean, and Daily Caller did pull the story, because it should have been a story in the first place. That's the real message here. But oh my God, I mean.
By the way, I cannot find that Candace Owens tweet on Donald Trump's Twitter.
Oh, you can't?
Like I did a complete search for it. Like, I controlled F'd.
Huh. Well,
yeah, it's not there. The only thing that's popping up is Trends for You, Candace Owens.
Maybe he deleted it. I don't think he would have deleted it. Maybe his public relations team
After-
deleted it.
After this, public relations team is like, sir, we know we don't tell you a whole lot what to do with your Twitter, but this might be a good idea. And he's like, yep, delete. Like,
Oh god. Fuck it. And here's kind of the worst question I have to ask you. Do you think Candace Owens believes any of this bullshit?
Here's the thing. Knowing the past record of Candace Owens, we know that.
I mean, she's done a
She's a
complete
grifter.
flip. Yeah, a complete
Well,
flip
it's not
in
even
like
that
6 months.
Well, it's not that she did a complete flip. She had no choice to. After the whole social autopsy scenario, that whole debacle where she basically got BTF'd like by the entire like left side of American politics. Because, hey, just a fun fact for you guys. If you ever decide to create a database of known information to purposely, dox people in life, not realizing that A, it's a felony in a lot of states. B, it's a crime in in multiple like counties. And C, that the internet doesn't like it when you try to, expose, anonymous accounts and everything. You're going to lose a lot of cred. That whole fiasco cost her a lot of traffic to her own website, her whole like blog posting site and everything. So with her making the jump to the right side of the politics, I'm pretty sure, nobody is going to dig too deep if somebody like joins their side and be like, oh, look at this, a liberal who saw the light and came over to our side. And that's really what's going on here. So no, I don't think she believes any of that. But the problem is that she is like, eventually this wild train is going to end and she's going to find herself in the unemployment line.
And she's going to be on record like for so much stuff.
Oh yeah. Like this video right here, like any dream she had of actually branching out of like Turning Point USA is done. It's done. She will never be able to run for office. She'll never be able to hold any public position. It's not going to happen. Like Fox News isn't even going to hire her at this point.
No, because she's too right for Fox News, which is a funny sort of thing.
Well, there's a little bit of a social faux pas in America. Just a little thing. It makes it so that people don't like you. Is when you try to make Hitler seem good. Like, you can't do that at any point. You just.
Well, I mean, how much did it?
America, the general.
How much did it hurt PragerU? It really didn't.
No, it really didn't hurt them, but that's because their intent wasn't to make Hitler seem better. And that was complete by accident.
They were trying to like rebrand Hitler
as a lefty, yes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, that they were trying to use it as like a demonizing aspect. She legitimately was just putting out there freaking like apologetics. I mean, come on, how can you misconstrue the concept that if he would have just kept it in, the borders of Germany, he was doing good. That was fine. When we know that, the Holocaust didn't just start happening once he invaded Poland. We know that there was already genocide within the German border. We already know this. She literally tried to excuse the concept of genocide just because it didn't happen outside the borders.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing, like, how this is even a thing. Like, this is something that we shouldn't even need to talk about. Like, it's just like, and that's the thing. Like, when I say talk about, like, I understand calling, like, be like, yeah, this is a neo-Nazi, and everybody knows like neo-Nazis think Hitler's great. But the fact that a quote-unquote political commentator just went on record, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Turning Point USA is going to turn around and fire her ass.
You think?
Well, she said in front of Charlie Kirk, who runs the whole deal, and I guarantee you, like, Turning Point USA is probably going to try to do some damage control because, any credibility they had on the conservative side of the House, majority of them are like walking away because that is a big no-no in the conservative circles. You know what I mean?
Do you really think? You think it's like it's totally over? I don't think it is, man.
I think so. I mean, they just hired Benny Johnson, and I think Candace Owens is like putting the stake in this because they're going to eventually get sued for plagiarism. I mean, they hired Benny Johnson. Like, the dude's a serial plagiarist. Why would you hire a serial plagiarist?
Oh man, this chick though. Nobody even talks about Social Autopsy anymore though. I mean,
because she did the flip.
This girl wanted to straight up. Oh, there we go. We have unbanned Orbiting Esau from Restream.
Oh,
welcome to the chat. I like. He was the only one who's ever been banned, so I had trouble figuring out how to unban him because I guess he hasn't been able to talk. But yeah, I mean, oh god.
Yeah, I don't know. It should just be interesting.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna change this thumbnail. Oh god.
I can't wait for this.
I'm gonna do a dollar bet with you.
Okay.
Turning Point does not release her at all. In fact, there's not even a public scolding.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. And something to put out here, by the way. I just don't know how this is going to end good. Like, here's the thing. Candace Owens isn't just a political commentator. She's also the communications director for Turning Point USA, right? And this is what's going on. This wasn't even said in America, by the way. This was talked about in the UK. Like, I don't know if people realize that is like she just basically, tried to like elevate Hitler's image in the UK.
The interesting part on that is that she may face some legal issues in the UK because they're part of the EU.
Yeah. And the EU has specific things about like not saying the Nazis were good up to a certain point. Like,
it's pretty much like if you talk about Hitler, it's Voldemort over there.
Yeah.
And some would say for good reason. I mean, I like being able to say the name. But holy.
Like, yeah, like here's a quick little tidbit, all right? By her statements, all right, and this is me being charitable. They were like, before he started going outside of it, his actions were okay, fine, right? If he just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem was Hitler expanded out, all right? So things that would have been okay, fine by, as long as he didn't, wasn't globalizing. Nuremberg race laws, the Crystal Knock, like, and then the passing of laws invalidating basically if you attacked a Jew at a certain point that you couldn't be tried for like any form of crime because Jews weren't recognized as people. Like, the Nuremberg race laws deprive German Jews of any citizenship. Like, they revoked their citizenship, saying that they weren't citizens. And in the Kristallnacht, like approximately almost 1,000 Jews were killed in one night. And this is all before they ended up, trying to globalize, according to her.
Yeah.
Like, and this is all endorsed by Hitler. Like, I don't know.
I think she'll take off after this, man.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Dachau was actually operational before Hitler decided to go global. Like, so we already had concentration camps. Like, I don't know.
But what the fuck did she mean by, hey, if nationalism goes bad in the end, I don't mind it? That's what I want to know. Like, that's the only thing I'm like, that to me is probably the worst part. When we were talking about Liam Neeson earlier, I forgot to mention that he used the word black bastard. And and there were some people that were like, yeah, I absolutely understand what he was talking about, but his usage of that term you know, may have been indicative of like a current sort of bias against black people, right? And I was like, okay, I can understand that. Sure, that was bad phrasing, but holy crap, like,
Yeah.
so when thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. Like, what the fuck?
Like, and I wish I could say like it's just because she's like young and ignorant. She was born in 1989. She's 29 years old, almost 30. Like, there should have been no reason why any of these words came out of her mouth.
Hey, ladies are 29 forever, Paul.
I just don't know. Like, and here's the thing, like, as we did this little bonus episode, this is just because me and David were just like, what in the world? You know what? Let's put our thoughts out there on it. And that's what we ended up doing. This isn't supposed to be a full-blown show. And this is just more of like, I don't even know what to think about this.
Yeah, I mean, like, because someone in the chat said, like, nationalism is okay. So
Mhm.
I absolutely think that if she wanted to rebrand nationalism, could have done that. In fact, she might have been able to do it effectively. I think the moment that you bring Hitler into it, I think you lost.
Well, like, and here's the thing: her defense right now is completely like trying to get the right to protect her because she's stating that all this is a smear by insane leftist journalists. Like, I wonder what's going to happen when, you know, Fox News pundits turn around and bash her for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
will
Fox
they?
News, they may actually.
Well,
like,
who's the?
Like, they were railing against freaking King. They were railing against him. Like, no, you should do the right thing and resign. Like,
so Ollie asked, "Did we see the Whitaker testimony?" So I listened to probably, I think, 4 hours out of the 6.
I listened for probably about 3 hours worth.
The guy didn't answer like a single goddamn question.
No, he didn't answer a question, and with his complete disrespect towards Nadler, like he's gonna get subpoenaed.
So,
he's gonna get subpoenaed.
I mean, so I got a good. I mean, we can talk about the Whitaker stuff too, because we also. I mean, we were gonna talk about it, but there's not much context there. Number one, why have this oversight committee hearing? I didn't feel like it was needed. You got Barr, who's coming in like a few days.
Yeah.
We all know that Whitaker did a shit job. If you feel that there's anything criminal, I mean, because this whole thing seemed to be that they just wanted to get Whitaker on the record for being a shit acting AG.
Yeah.
Which, why?
Well, here's the thing. I think what it's coming down to is there's a specific play, and I think what it's coming down is that in order to even be an acting attorney general, you need to be confirmed. And I think that's what they're going for. I think they're trying to start laying down, setting a precedent, stating that, hey, next time you go to get any president in the future that turns around and goes like, hey, I need a new acting AG, you have no choice but to appoint someone that has already been confirmed by the Senate. You know? Which,
yeah, it's entirely possible to do. They don't, for people who don't understand, a lot of these people, like, they will always refer back to a confirmation hearing, maybe even like years ago, like when they're going for a new job and saying pretty much, hey, is this good enough? For example, like Mueller, who's leading the counterintelligence investigation and everything, he was once Senate confirmed. And so a lot of people are just thinking that you have to go through the process at least once. I mean, this was deranged. This was honestly worse than the Kavanaugh hearing, and I thought Kavanaugh was deranged, and some people say with good reason. Sure, but I mean, this was absolutely unhinged, and it really towards the end of it, the last 2 hours, I don't think he answered a single question outside of when everything had finally boiled down, and they had asked about the whatchamacallit, not parole, when the president pardoned, when they asked him the pardon question. That was like the only time, because he tried to go like, oh, well, and they're like, no, have you seen any documentation regarding pardons? And he's just like, yes. And then it sort of ended there.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing, it just got so out of hand because questions were asked. He refused to answer them. They sort of started calling him on his bullshit. And then so he started getting angry back. and then it just devolved into nothing. I mean, it's not how the whole process should work. Absolutely. I don't think Whitaker should have ever held that job. I think that some of the policy decisions he made, especially like the migrant protection one that they were talking about, like the Migrant Protection Act or Migrant Protection Policy, like it's not a like it's the weirdest named policy. I love how the government does that sometimes. They'll name something like the opposite of what it does. So, by the way, apparently you're 22 at most, James.
Oh, okay.
That's good, man. I wish I looked 22.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it. Like, I got salt and pepper going on in my hair, so I got that soccer mom bait.
Did you get carded when we were out?
No.
Yeah, no. So you guys are all wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in dress blues. What, both times that we were in Vegas?
The wedding, yeah, and then the Marine Corps ball, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Esau, if James was as fat as you, he'd cry as well.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be allowed to be doing my job.
You think your wife would divorce you if you were 300 pounds?
I don't know. I know that I have told her that if she ever got 300 pounds, I would divorce her.
Oh, so yeah, fair shake both ways.
Yeah. Like I expect it. I expect my wife to finally go, like, yeah, no, look, you roll down a hill. Like, no, like, you need to lose weight or we're getting a divorce. And I'd be like, I'm beautiful on the inside. And then I would get divorced. If she got to 300 pounds, I'd divorce her in a heartbeat. I'd be like, nope, I would like show you the door, but I'm afraid you wouldn't fit. So,
damn, that's cold-blooded.
I'm not a nice person. Like, I'm not a good person. I don't know why people misconstrue this. They think that because I'm honest that I must be nice, but I'm not. I'm a bad person who just so happens to do good things.
So James is a bad person?
Yes, I'm a bad, terrible person. I know this.
So I think we'll probably, I think in the future we'll do these, but then we'll just take them down afterwards. I don't know.
I mean, we could just leave them up. It's just this isn't the show. This isn't like anything that's really scripted. It's just, and I don't mean scripted in the sense like, you know, all our comments or whatnot are scripted, but you know, we do decide on like what we're going to talk about, which stories we're going to hit on, but this is more kind of like more of like a reaction to something that is just kind of.
This was started
ridiculous.
just because you were like, yo, what about that Candace Owens? And I was like, oh shit. I didn't even talk about that. It just escaped my mind.
Yeah.
Like how Hitler was a bad person somehow escaped Candace Owens' mind. No, we do not have a Streamlabs orbiting Esau.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
any other questions? You guys have?
Yeah.
Do they know what a Streamlabs are? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do they know what a Streamlabs is? Would probably be the better question. But yes, we.
I know what Streamlabs are, but I'm not sure if I know what Streamlabs is.
From Dr. Zayas, I want to fuck a girl that I could ride on like a yoga ball.
Give us State of the Union takes. Actually, yes, we're going to be talking about that Sunday.
No, we're doing Green New Deal.
Both? Green New Deal is kind of, yeah. Well, of course.
I mean, sure.
It's a pure congressional episode. So State of the Union, yeah, we're gonna discuss that. Green New Deal, we're gonna discuss that too, because that was a House resolution that is getting set to pass. Now, before people get confused or anything, understanding Green New Deal is a simple resolution. If you don't know what that is, Google it.
So, Esau says, make a Streamlabs. Sure, I will make a Streamlabs. We'll find a way to incorporate it into OBS.
Mm-hmm.
That for you.
We'll discuss that too, Dirty Dancer. He wants to know how the hell AOC is becoming loved. We'll discuss that with the concept of like how people are freaking out over the Green New Deal. We have to touch upon that because the response to that is precisely why she is loved.
Yeah, here's the reason why people are loving AOC. Is because instead of challenging her on policy, which I think most people, if they did, would win.
Yeah. They're taking the fruitless approach. They hate her for dancing.
They hate her for dancing, and they hate her for like silly comments, and they hate her for her unprofessional approach to Senate. You know, like sharing video and Instagram and Snapchat footage of like behind the scenes stuff. Like hating on all that only makes her more likable.
Yeah, because what it's actually revealing is that she's more of like, the anti-establishment politician everyone's been dreaming of. And that's really what it goes down for, too. So,
Game Over Talk Show says hello. Hello, Game Over Talk Show.
Where are you seeing this at? Because I don't see it.
It's in the restream.
Oh, it's in the restream. I haven't synced up the restream for mine.
It's one of our Twitter watchers.
Oh, crap. Like, yeah, because I'm only seeing like the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So I am sorry. You're gonna have to like call that out then. But yeah, it's just one of these things. I am looking forward to a few things though. Just so you guys know, me and David have been talking on how to make the podcast a little bit better. We want to make sure that you guys enjoy listening to us at home, in the car, in the bath, like wherever. Share us among your friends, your family, your coworkers, your worst enemies. Like if you think that we're absolutely terrible and that we're good for like torturing people, like definitely tell your worst enemies to listen to us.
Oh, another thing about AOC was when literal billionaires went to Davos and wore fur coats to try to make fun of her. That was probably bad optics too. Like the thing is honestly, it's just AOC is better at the optics game without even trying than all these people that are trying to make fun of her are.
So I have a very interesting statement I want to read out.
There's a good question for you, by the way, as well.
Yeah,
James hates all these Republicans. Which ones does he advocate for?
So here's the deal. I think people misconstrue what me and David are doing. When we talk about politics or anything, it's not that we hate these people. It's not that we hate them. Some of them we actually do end up like supporting. What it comes down to, though, is that me and David both agree that it comes down to accountability. And accountability is not something that is done by the government. The government shouldn't be holding itself accountable. It is actually up to the people to hold them accountable. So when we talk about the ludicrous proposals or the insane back and forth, it's not because like we hate them. I mean, granted, there are politicians we do hate. Like I'm pretty sure you can list off a bunch, and I can too. But in the end of the day, it's about holding them all accountable. So like when we talk about the craziness of like the Republican Party, I don't hate the Republican Party, but I do hold them accountable, and I should hold them accountable, especially since I am part of the Republican Party. And it's the same thing with David and the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
It's not about hate. Like we understand that the system's pretty good at the way it is. And sure, there's some things that can make it better. But, if they don't get implemented, it's not like it's the end of the United States. But we as citizens need to hold our elected officials responsible.
Ooh, another comment. James, are you still happy that you voted for Trump?
So I've already stated before what my whole intent was when I voted for Trump.
Sure.
Yeah. And so, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, because here's the thing. Everyone is suffering, but you actually see you're actually seeing it. A lot of people are starting to hold their politicians responsible. Like, for example, take freaking the governor of Virginia, the attorney general of Virginia, and the lieutenant governor of Virginia. All right. If you look in the past and everything, certain scandals like this, like a long time ago, would have just been brushed over really quick. A quick apology and done and over with. But no, you still have people calling for those three individuals to step down and resign. And that's because people are becoming more interested in their politicians. Now, I'm not saying you have to be as interested in politics where you have to talk about like all these different representatives, all these different senators that have nothing to do with you. But definitely hold the politicians that have something to do with you, such as your actual district representative, your senator, and you should actually hold them accountable and decide if they need to resign or not. You should call them out. You should be protesting. Like, I don't understand why Virginians aren't protesting right now when the polls are saying they should resign, of holding a recall. They can recall all of them, and they should.
Yeah. Cox is going to get into power if that happens. Which
well,
I know. I think there's
have to hold a election.
If they resign, intermediate. Well, if they resigned, so for
Yep.
recall, well, if they recalled them one by one, yeah, I guess, because the system would
Well,
take so long.
Well, since it's all part of like one big ticket, they can actually recall them in one big like special recall. Like you don't have to recall them one by one. You can recall all three at the same time, and then you would have your temporary acting until a special election is held.
So someone said, how do you guys respond to liberals who say drone strikes cause more deaths because of collateral damage and people wanting to avenge loved ones turning into terrorists? So drone strikes, number one, the reason why one of those reports, I believe it was the New York Times, came out and said is that what they did was they took the drone strike amount, the amount of primary targets, and then subtracted those and divided it. So let's say that there is a drone strike and it kills one bad guy and it kills 9 people around him. What they would say is that 90% of the people who died were the unintended targets. It's only a 10% active rate, which is not how like the CIA or any of these departments who conduct these sorts of operations actually count it. Number one, there is a big priority in trying to separate the individual. So, like, obviously you don't want to hit a bad guy when he's with his family. You would rather wait until he's at work with a bunch of other bad guys. Yeah. But then even the other part is that even when all intended strikes were bad people, were, you know, like members of ISIS or whatever, they still would only take that single target. So you have to understand that most of the time, the way that the operators are conducting these strikes, they're waiting for them to be sort of at work with other bad guys, and then that's when they're doing
driving on a road. Yeah, like if you're like a AO commander for ISIS, you know, freaking, and you're in a vehicle being driven to a certain point, and you are the primary target, and a drone takes them out. Of course, the driver's working for ISIS, you know, and the guards that are in that vehicle too are part of ISIS, but they weren't the intended target. So it throws off the numbers a little bit. Now, the thing is about the drone strikes, about avenging loved ones. Here's the thing. Avenging loved ones is going to happen regardless. Like, I hate to say it, but like, even if you took out, like one drone strike took out 100 terrorists, those 100 terrorists still have families. They still have people that loved and care about them. So they're still going to turn into terrorists. It's a normal cyclic rate.
Well, now, here's the other part of this too. Do you really think that if you have a father, right, who's at home and he's a lieutenant or something in ISIS, ISIL, you know, Al-Nusra, Al-Shabaab, whatever, do you really think that that child's not being curated to going into the movement in the first place?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the whole point of vengeance. Like, they're not just avenging their father. They're avenging their father because they became a martyr. They want revenge for what they were already doing. The seeds have already been planted. It's just now it's being harvested.
I mean, I've always thought that was like a kind of a terrible thing. Like, do you think these kids that were raised by a terrorist who, you know, are just being like shown radical Islam all the fucking time anyway? Yeah. You know, like that they were just going to live like awesome lives. And now all of a sudden, you know, no, I think the better way to do it is a combined, I think drone strikes are a tool. I don't think the only tool, but I mean, we even have, like these things called sweat analysis, which goes into the like civil infrastructure part of these things where you start worrying about like the sewage, water, electricity, schools, trash, medical facilities and stuff like that. And that you have to use both. So you can't just drone strike your problems away. And no one is doing that. That's not a
No, drone strikes are meant for specific tactical targets. They're not meant for just wanton destruction. They're not replacing 500-pound bombs. They're not replacing boots on ground, and they are definitely not replacing small arms fire.
Yeah, the way that you should actually, like, I don't think looking at these things in the correct way is assuming that it's being done all the time. So like, you know, some report gets brought up about drone strikes, and all of a sudden people think that that's all we're doing in places, and it's not. No. It's a tool in the toolkit. Is there a possibility that the tool in the toolkit gets overused? Absolutely, sure. And if there's criticism there, that might be legitimate criticism. But saying that drone strikes in general are like a bad is nonsensical.
Yeah, and that's where it really comes down to. And we have to also understand that when it comes down to drone strikes, like you have to be able, in order to be able to do it legally and everything, you have to gauge if, like, let's say there is innocent people around there. Let's say the dude's with his family. If he's like a lieutenant in ISIS, like, there is no way in hell you can justify the military necessity to initiate a drone strike on that individual. Now, if he's like the prime leader of ISIS, then that collateral damage is justified. But that's where it comes down to. And when we look at it, drone strikes aren't just done wantonly, even though there's a lot of them. You have to understand, like, there's a lot of freaking folks out there that are, pretty big. They're pretty higher up in like certain terrorist organizations, rank structures. Like when you have ISIS able to break up, their territory into multiple areas with multiple commanders for each area, and then multiple bomb makers, multiple logistics experts, we're looking at like an entire network of over like 10, 20,000 as just leadership. Never mind like, your basic foot troops. So we don't drone strike wantonly. It's not like we just go to it as our first choice. It's utilized strategically. So what is just coming down to, and I feel like the whole reporting that it comes in there, it's playing upon the concept that there's a gap of information, that there's not a bridge of understanding between the civilian populace and the military populace.
Yeah. So the other thing too, I think everyone wants to see that puppy again.
Puppy? All right.
Everyone wants to see the puppy.
Say hi, Jerry.
How do you feel about Hitler, Jerry? Ruff, ruff. See?
So that translates into Hitler has always been bad.
Yeah, there we go. It's so easy, a dog can do it. Yeah. Here, hold on. Hey, Scout, come up here. All right, here. Come
outside
about
of wedding,
we have a German here who can talk about. Tell him about Hitler.
Yeah.
Tell him about Hitler.
Something that was brought up outside of wedding bombing, I would question the collateral damage stats. Here's the thing: there was an instance where a wedding was bombed. But we're talking about like there was 5 area commanders in attendance at that wedding. We the person getting married was like to his like 4th wife, and was like one of the major bomb makers for like 2 of those areas. Like it was a lot of VIPs, and yeah, we can actually state that was through military necessity that wedding deserved to be bombed.
The dog, the German Shepherd, is actually refusing to denounce Hitler. So,
it figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. German Shepherds.
Germans can't trust them.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for showing up.
Yeah.
Any last questions?
Yeah. Well, last questions. We'll do 2 more. 2 more questions. I can only see the YouTube comments, so.
You did the hail salute. No, so I do, watch, here, I'll show. Come on, Scout. Touch, Scout. No. Touch.
By the way, just so you guys know, I see where it's like James's puppy is very cute. He's actually only 10 weeks old.
Oh, Chelsea Manning, hot or not? Not.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's some people who transition to women who look great. Chelsea Manning, definitely not.
Joy Behar, never heard of him.
She's a host on The View. Just revealed that she did blackface as a Halloween costume a while ago.
It seems like everyone did blackface like 30 years ago. Maybe it was just the thing. I don't know.
Well, like 30 years ago, we also had a movie called Soul Man that was about a white kid who whose dad like took money away from him, and so in order for him to go to college, he did blackface and like went to a historically like black college with like a black kid scholarship, and then fell for a black chick.
Well, so I have a question about the whole blackface thing. Why aren't more people sort of mad at the blaxploitation films that have happened like even pretty recently, where it's like a white director, white producer, and they're making films targeting black communities, but all the money is going into like white people's hands. If you're so mad about this kind of stuff, there just seems to be better targets.
Well, that's because blaxploitation films historically were utilized it was to target like black communities and everything, but it was also in a sense to offer like, Hollywood characters that the black community could like, basically idolized, like Blackula, like, oh, look, black people can be vampires as well. And it was very popular in the 70s because of that. And it was interesting because the blaxploitation films kind of ran in multiple lanes. Primarily, though, you saw a lot of grindhouse and kung fu films within that whole blaxploitation era as well. Like,
no, I'm
very
not saying get mad at that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. There seems to be more legitimate targets than, but I mean, there's also a huge difference, mind you, in like someone from The View doing something, and then something like an elected politician doing. I do hold a higher standard for politicians than I do for.
Yeah, you should.
Yes.
Yeah, like
yeah. Someone in the chat just Mitzi in the chat just said, "Why is no one calling out Robert Downey Jr.?" I think she's talking about Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
that's what it comes down to. Elected officials should be held higher to a higher standard. And the thing is people did try calling out Robert Downey Jr. during the whole Tropic Thunder deal. The thing is a majority of people didn't care because he was actually making fun of the concept of the idea of using blackface. It was mocking that whole deal.
Yeah, it was somewhat self-aware and sort of breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. Well, and that's
and that's part of it, I guess. Oh my God, there's nuance to all this shit. Whoa.
Yeah. There is nuance in the case of freaking, Virginia governor. No, the nuance is that he's just a fucking prick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joy Behar, same thing. She's a fucking bitch. Like, she did it as a Halloween costume, not as a, nuanced way of going like, look at the ridiculousness that is Hollywood.
So, final name. Insubordinate podcast number 13 Aftershow. Hitler Had Dreams, Drone Strikes, and Puppies. I think we're good with that. Do I need to add blackface onto the end of this?
No. I think we're already pushing Hitler Had Dreams. Let's not add blackface.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put like a little asterisk in the middle of Hitler. There we go. Now it's better. Now the YouTube algorithm can't find us.
Yay.
God, oh yeah, so another person says, so this Halloween after 9/11, my friend Mike dressed up as Osama bin Laden. I mean,
brownface is kind of a gray area.
Well, I mean,
I'm joking.
To be quite honest, I think if you are dressing up as someone, and I mean, and like I said, I'm not black, so don't take this as like approval from the Black Caucus or anything. But I think that if you are legitimately like a fan of something, right, and you are dressing up as that character, there is a way to do it where it is not racist. There's probably not a way to do it where you won't get bitched at by somebody.
I would suggest not dressing up as Osama bin Laden whatsoever. And if you idolize Osama bin Laden, I ask you to turn yourself into the FBI.
Esau says, I'm black where it matters. You're fat? I don't get it.
His love of KFC, I don't know. Yeah.
If you're a super fan of ISIS, it's not racist to wear brownface.
I guess
that would say that ISIS is only brown people, and
which they're not.
There's plenty of people from America and from Canada and from the UK that were white that went over to go fight with ISIS.
A majority of the foreign fighters are Jordanian, though.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
when they were. Well, I mean, fuck.
There are also Chinese dudes. There was celebrating a 73-year-old Chinese man joining ISIS.
There was some idiot that posted a comment about the UK and returning ISIS fighters, and I had to fucking curb that shit out. I'm not gonna say who this fucking retard is, but I used to have somewhat respect for this person, and this person was like, "Oh, the UK where they don't say anything about like returning ISIS fighters," and then as I linked him to like this special tribunal they had where all these returning ISIS fighters were getting 10 years in prison. Yeah, like for the most part. Oh god.
We come across that a lot. A lot of people talking about shit they don't understand. Like after we did that episode concerning Donald Trump hijacking the whole RNC deal. Like somebody hit me up on Twitter and tried stating that he's running for re-election, that it's normal to not for the incumbent to not be primaried. And boy, did I slam him with facts.
Yeah.
I was like, actually, it is very normal. Only 2 presidents since 1952 have never been primaried, and that was Barack Obama and Eisenhower.
Yeah.
George Bush was originally primaried. The reason why it never went up to full vote is because at the RNC, a couple hours beforehand, when they saw the polling numbers, and George W. Bush was a wartime president, he had really high numbers in the Republican Party, they dropped out because they knew there was no way. But he was initially challenged, so that actually still counts as well. But yeah, like incumbent presidents face primary challengers from their own party all the time.
I had a similar conversation that was just in real life with someone who in real life watches the show. And they were talking about
someone watches our show?
Yes. It's actually the guy who was on the one show, so Joe. And he was talking about how like it's normal for the RNC or the DNC to give money to the candidate. And I was like, sure, that's absolutely normal. What's not normal? Well, even but I said even then, it's not normal that you literally pool your organization. Like there's not even separate organizations. You're sending all the money from both sides into one pool. That is not normal, and I don't even know if that's legal.
I don't think so either. I feel like that would violate the maximum contribution laws.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. Let's put it this way: nobody is really that smart. Like the one thing we do, I guess we desperately need is smarter criminals, because a lot of these people just aren't that smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us. I think we're good.
Yeah, this was a quick little bonus deal. Nothing big.
We're gonna get bombed on this just because the name. Whatever.
Yeah, fuck it.
Screw it.
Yeah,
bye,
by
guys.
The way, I heard complaints like my F-bombs. Like, fuck no. I'm still gonna say fuck.
Stop it. It's distracting. It's distracting people who are driving in their cars when all of a sudden they're just like, and the effing.
Well, let me put it this way. It's not like our audience that watches is like a bunch of Mormons or some shit. They're all fucking deranged motherfuckers like us.
Do you want to reach the Mormons? I want to reach the Mormons.
Oh, it would be interesting. Like,
so if you want Mormons to listen, you got to cater to the Mormon audience.
Yeah, just
all right. Bye.